I'd like the approval of the minutes. First of all, I think we need to make sure everybody knows each other sitting at the table. Peter, have you met?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, why don't, I'm Norma O'Leary. Carol Smith.
Dave Clark.
Sue Wheeler.
Heather Gothier, recording secretary.
And Pete Cummins.
And this is Amy sitting over here. And that's Dan up there, and I think Valerie is on the phone. Yeah, okay.
Trying.
Okay, now I need the approval of the minutes from the April 18th meeting. Let me see, have to be from Peter or Carol. We have that. I didn't find any problems with it. I'll accept the meeting. Pardon? I'll approve them. Okay. Motion
Second.
made and seconded by Peter. Any discussion on the minutes?
Oh, no, I haven't read.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. So carry.
I wasn't at the meeting.
Thank you. Financial matters, Carol?
Okay, I'm confused on how to read this. We went over budget by 100,
By what?
budget came out 113.9%, and I know it had to do with the conservation officer, but I don't know what you do at the end of the year when you have a minus. How does that work?
What do you mean? Oh, because it's in the it's in the red.
It's in the red.
It'll just, we balance out at the end. We do some transfers, some balance transfers. And don't worry about it. It just shows us where we were at. That was for the salaries because initially it was plugged in for Carolyn's former salary. And the Board of Finance is already aware of it.
And so the new budget starts July 1st. Don't know what that is.
Okay. I don't think we need an approval of that. Thank you for reading the financials. Correspondence?
I had sent the members the meeting minutes and a while back, about a month ago, a short report on a possible burial ground at North Governordale Pond that we've talked about a little bit. We've had no incoming mail, which is weird. But I'm expecting a wildlife magazine shortly. I'm surprised we don't have it yet. Or perhaps Marla has it in her stack of mail. By email, I sent, I received the 2023 budget book, which I'll speak to a little bit later. Also information from the University of Rhode Island on their online GIS program certification. And an email announcement from OPM that is, it has an erroneous title in our agenda. It's actually, it's not a reapplication announcement. It's a kind of a generic email that I think went to grant recipients, reminding them that the grant cycle is 2 years from date of execution, and to have their reimbursement, any reimbursement submitted ahead of time. I was hoping that it was an announcement for the cemeteries grant, but there's nothing yet on the website for the 2022 Neglected Cemeteries Fund. I've sent an email to Martin Heft at OPM for clarification on this year's Neglected Cemeteries grant. Outgoing mail, I haven't had to send anything. And I believe we'll just proceed to the conservation agent report.
Okay. We have a copy of that.
Yes.
The agent report.
I had sent that to everybody by email today as well, if you didn't have it on the table there. I'm gonna read through it. Things are in no particular order. Some were carried over from the report that I was writing for May. So some of this is a little old. But since we last met, the Blaine footbridge at West Thompson Dam has been reinstalled. There was a bunch of people there, dignitaries. I believe Dick Blumenthal was there, Joe Courtney, and they had a ribbon cutting ceremony that was had a lot of people there, a lot of people from the Trails Committee, and it's a crucial link in the park aspect of the Thompson Dams recreation system. That you can do a loop through the park now much easier than it has been for the last few years with the footbridge missing. On to the next item. During the course of cleaning the office, we found some wildlife crossing signs. They were purchased a few years ago from the commission at a really good price. We had given two, I traced it in emails that we had given two to Public Works, and we have 8 remaining. The 2 that went to Public Works were supposed to be placed on Robin L. Road. I don't know if they're up, but I want to confirm that. And I'd like to know from people who have been on the commission for a while if there were plans for the other signs, other locations where they want these wildlife crossing signs deployed. Otherwise, we could come up with some places.
Not that I know of. I thought it was mainly Ravenel Road, but are there other places where it's crossing from that? Have you looked at a map?
Maybe East Thompson. There's a lot of land out there. There's land all over town where something might want to cross the road.
Oh,
I don't know if maybe we could tie it in with if we had vehicle accident information related to animal.
okay.
But
Well, why don't we do some homework on that then and come back with some ideas?
sure.
I got hit by a deer on Buckley Hill about 2 years ago. Of course, that deer's not gonna hit me again, but there were probably others.
They cross on Quarter, by Dave Reynolds.
Yeah. They cross everywhere.
Yes,
Well, we got 8 signs we can put up somewhere, right?
pardon?
8 of them.
Yeah, but we'll have to do some homework.
Yep.
Yeah, they should be placed smartly. And I'll do my homework on that.
Does the state police have a record of accidents or would that not be a question to ask them?
I don't know how often the deer accidents get reported, how serious deer accidents are. I've had a few, but I've never had to report them to police. But that's something I can make an inquiry about.
Okay, well, we have some homework.
Hmm.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. We've covered this prior to the meeting, but we have new members. Susan Wheeler and Dave Clark are both on the commission now. I have on my roster that their terms end in March 2023, so they must be filling out the remainder of a term. We've updated the website and they're up there. And as Norma mentioned, Phil will be stepping down. This will leave one vacancy on the commission, and at some point, the commission might want to consider an election of officers to formalize the chair, vice chair positions. Norma's host.
Shall we do that next meeting then? We're gonna put them,
Yeah, we can put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Especially if you do get the
What's that?
resignation,
Gotta get his check.
then you.
We do need the resignation to, well,
yes, I didn't, he knows he should, but I didn't want to tell him we were waiting for it.
to elect officers, we wouldn't need the resignation potentially, but to replace his seat, we would need the resignation.
Say that again.
I believe you can hold an election of officers with him still officially on the board. But to replace his seat, we would need the resignation.
Right.
I think our commission is in healthy shape. We have really no issues of a meeting, having a quorum. And later on in this agenda, I'll mention it right now, that the Wetlands Commission, which I do the recording secretary work for, has only 4 members. And they show up all the time, but it makes the potential of a quorum, not a lack of a quorum, a possibility with every meeting. And if anyone knows of anyone with interest in a land use board position, that Wetlands could use some people too. On to the next item in the report. I've been trying to hit the cemeteries in my evening walks outside of my hours, and just to kind of get acquainted with all the properties that are on our lists. And the West Thompson Cemetery has across the street an active proposal for a cannabis dispensary, and I wanted to walk the site just to see how might that be affected by this proposal. And I think people are probably likelier to go to West Thompson Dam after they make their purchase there. But if this dispensary gets approved, that we should keep an eye out for signs of litter typical to that type of establishment with single-use containers, and there's all sorts of like there's nippers, there's also all sorts of containers for cannabis that are single use. And if litter becomes a problem in that cemetery, that we should work very closely with the person across the street to make sure that their clientele chooses a better place. But the cemetery is in great shape. It's looking really good. I have a question of Norma at some point about the oldest gravestone in town, and I was trying to locate that. But that's a topic that I cover related to the burial ground at North Grovendale Pond.
If you'd like a contact name for the West Thompson Cemetery, his name is Tim Bates.
Yep.
He's the sexton.
Yeah, well,
I have his number that I can give to you later.
yep. Thank you, Norma. Our next item, this cabinet that Marla and Carolyn, and now Marla and myself have been seeking to get to kind of stow and some things in our shared office that kind of clutter our office right now. So previously, the commission encumbered $200 exactly 2 years ago, but the purchase never occurred. The cost of the cabinet that Marla and Carolyn had picked out is risen by $150, $200. And Marla wanted the commission to commit more money from an unused budget line before the end of this fiscal year. We have $250 unused from this current fiscal year in the office supply line, which is also the supply line. The $200 from two years ago was encumbered out of that supply line. But I probably want the commission to make take a vote on that or approve the authorization of that. Just so I have something if I need to present it to finance.
Can we still do that with a deficit?
I'm not certain. Would Amy be able to answer that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So we have a deficit on the salary line on the Conservation Commission, but all of our other salary, all of our other lines are untouched. We need to encumber an additional $200
Yeah,
for a cost. Can we take that from a supply line?
absolutely. Don't, the salary is what the salary is. We knew that was coming.
Mhm.
And it's going to be, there'll be a transfer. If you have money on the other expense lines, you have to encumber it to a particular vendor though. So if you know the vendor for the cabinet,
Yeah,
this for the cabinet, then you can encumber it to that, but you have to let Paula know before next week.
yeah, we wanted to get this finally squared away.
Okay, do I hear a motion then to approve the additional $200 for the cost of the cabinet?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Dave made a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Peter, second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. So carried. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll coordinate with Marla and finance to make this finally happen. The next item on my report, we had dumping at a Boy Scout property a couple months back. And I haven't hiked out there yet to confirm that it's gone. And I kind of don't really reach anybody at the Boy Scouts. They recently had a timber harvest application. And I've reached out to the person on that by email, and hope to find confirmation that the mess has been cleaned up. But otherwise, plan to hike it as soon as my girlfriend feels up to hiking out there. It's on the border trail, essentially off the border trail. So it's quite a hike to get out there to find it. And I'm not going to go hiking on the clock for that. Back to the report. Office organization is an ongoing project when I have time. All of our supplies in the wetland/conservation office are now consolidated in one location. They were kind of between 3 or 4 different filing cabinets, and if you were looking for something, you would have to open every drawer in a sense to find it. It would be in the last place you look. But all of our supplies are now organized. It's streamlined some things, and Marla and I have both been able to work on our email backlog of organization and our hard copy organization. Related to the office again, the phones are still kind of tricky. I was testing it today after Norma called and reached the clerk's office. I followed the same routine, dialing my office's listed number with my listed extension, and my call went to the clerk's office. So Maria's looking into that. We thought we had it resolved, but it's still a work in progress. The next item on the report is the burial site at the Knights of Columbus, North Grosvenor Pond. I have a handout for you all, I believe, which is what I sent a month ago, the short couple pictures, and just to make the planner and the potential developer aware that there's something here that looks like an old burial site. There's laid field stone with header and footer stones. And it has a peculiar appearance that make one think that it's from a certain period when they were doing graves of that style. Carolyn did a lot of research in that location, and she took photos and kind of documented all the stones on a schematic. that she believed were possible burial stones. And that has been shared with the town planner and the developer. I believe it's possibly the oldest potential burial site in Thompson that we know about from Western Settlement. It's sort of right along the lines of the old Connecticut path, and my hunch is that it's either related to the earliest settlement, white settlement of Thompson, or related to travelers along the old Connecticut path. But the activity on that the development proposal has kind of stalled, apparently. The planner hasn't been able really to have much dialogue, I believe she said in the past week or so with them. So at the very least, I'd like to see the area roped off similarly to how Rhode Island treats some of its historical burial grounds. Doesn't have to be much, just kind of sectioned away with a little placard that signifies what it is. I don't believe doing so would disturb it any further than it's already seen throughout its history. It's right along a walking trail. These are laid field stones. There's not any gravestone to topple or vandalize. But out of just respect for that plot, that it be sequestered from any development. But if anybody has any questions about that, I'll be glad to answer, or I can move along.
Well, I guess, I don't think roping it off is gonna do much good. There's a plot in East Thompson that had some pipe around it, and the pipe is gone, and they don't really know if they feel it's a burial ground. But a rope wouldn't last very long. But I think it's advantageous that we do something.
Yep.
But I'd do a little research on it and see what they recommend. And see if that might fit in our budget, or if it's something we can get some volunteers to do, or, but I think it should be recognized.
Yeah, I sent that short report and email to Ruthie Brown. And I'm hoping
Do something,
Ruth Brown.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping she has insights on it and can, provide a prescription for it.
This is a picture. I don't know if you saw it. This is the one, got it changed in a time. This is ours.
Mhm. Oh, it's gonna change, yeah.
Yeah, the chain.
Mhm.
I mean, it changed.
Okay, should we put that on the agenda for next month and come up with some ideas then?
Yeah, that would be.
How would we verify that it was
Excuse me?
how would we verify that it was a burial plot? And I understand that it looks similar with the placement of stones,
The
but
stones this way, standing on edge, so many feet apart,
okay,
and
so it looks like a pattern, because I
yes.
can't see that in the picture, so, okay.
Dave. Andy Sign was the one that pointed it out to us. Andy Sign lives on Chase Road. I don't know just where he got his information.
I mean, it does look similar to the other one, but I'm wondering how they verified the other one. It's just, it's a curiosity question more than anything, my interest in.
There's another one, there's a
archaeology.
few located in town.
Mhm.
There's one over by the Aquatic State Park
Okay,
that has stones sticking up, and indentures where,
I think with a lot of these, it's local lore and institutional knowledge.
Mhm.
I would love to see if we could have any radar or what something like that would do.
Yeah, ground penetrating radar.
But I don't know if that's
Kind of broken.
beyond our capacity or if it's a simple ask. But before any sequestering of that site or should occur, that it should be in fact a burial ground. So it'd be on us to prove that. Moving on to the next agenda item, one of my recreational walks, I explored the Robbins O'Leary Blaine Preserve of the Wyndham Land Trust. Beautiful, had the place all to myself. The parking at Fred Davis, fine by me, but there was the gate is very rusted, and one of the crossbars is at a funky angle that when you're trying to shimmy past it, you could catch it. It's just, it looks kind of suspect. There's a bridge on in the preserve also that has encountered a lot of rust. And some sections are, you step very gingerly. But the bridge is what it is. And I did see plenty of ATV use of the property that I think goes against Wyndham Land Trust's uses allowed there. This is a property that I've taken complaints about for ATV use, and a butter had recently made a section of Corduroy Road to access the property through wetlands, which has since been, the Corduroy Road has been removed with a letter from the Wyndham Land Trust attorney, but that hasn't stopped people from using the property since for dirt bikes. I mean, honestly, when you get to that section of the preserve, it looks like it's made for a motocross event. Just the contours of the land, but it's not what that land is set aside for. So I plan on relaying to the land trust my concerns about the gate and that there's still ATV use there. I don't know, what they can do from that, besides send letters, if they know who. But just that there's some eyes on their property. It was a beautiful place.
it is. I used to swim in the brook.
Yep. I want to, Stephanie, I want to park a chair in that brook there and just bring her books and just spend more time there. I mean, there's not many features, but it's a great walk around. And moving on to the next agenda item, I know PA 490 is open space is still under consideration. I don't know if other members of the commission know its progress, but I'm not certain of how soon.
What are they looking at under the 490 open space? What's under consideration?
Well, originally, they had to readopt language that I guess when it was originally adopted, it wasn't adopted procedurally correct. And it's supposedly been floating around all this time as an option, but not
Or as lot size or what?
No, I've attended all the meetings
Okay.
starting with agriculture and planning and zoning
Yeah.
and the ordinance commission. And they're trying to keep the lot size the same as it was back in 1979, which is 3 acres or more for the size. But the big problem was back in 1979, although they came up with a open space thing, it was never made into an ordinance. And that's where the town fell down. And the current assessor found this problem, so it kind of throws, because it wasn't an ordinance, all the land that's in open space, not agriculture or forest, because that's covered by the state, but the town adopting open space all became into question, and there are, I think, some 750 properties or something that are currently under the original open space. And once the ordinance is done, which it's in the final stage now, it's back to the selectmen. Hopefully they will decide by their first meeting in July to adopt it with or whatever changes, then it goes to town meeting and gets through hopefully, so that by September, everybody can reapply who's currently in open space, and new people if they choose to apply.
So if I'd like to see a copy of one they're looking at adopting, who do I see?
Amy has one.
Amy. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Older people have to reapply.
Everybody will have to reapply. They will not have to, as it's being spoken now, they will not have to restart their 10-year clock. They would simply have to go through the process of reapplying, and assuming their land still qualifies under what's been written, which it's a pretty open thing. There were only 2 contentious things on it when it came out of ordinance. So pretty much presumably everybody who's in it should still be able to remain in it. There might be some differences in the tax structure. That's one of the things that's being debated now, is how the tax structure goes, but it wouldn't be a major difference. We fortunately found a big flaw in what was stated for the tax structure, that instead of it being 75% of the assessed value, it will only be 25% of the assessed value. There was a mistaken communication and a typographical error, so that's been fixed. It should hopefully, once everybody reapplies, it should be fairly seamless. Fingers crossed. This has been a long, drawn-out process that a lot of people have worked very hard on. So, but hopefully everybody who's in it, or they can apply if they qualify for agricultural forest land too, and that's a separate thing, but they can apply for those if they qualify.
I
And it's
mean,
under state.
they have to requalify for that too, or those are okay the way they are
If you've
now.
qualified for forest, I mean, there are procedures to qualify for forest. It has to be redone every so many years with the state foresters. But if you qualify for that, or you qualify for agriculture, you're not part of this. This is only people who had open space that weren't under forest and weren't under agriculture. Which is a substantial number of people in town, but like I said, 750 odd properties. I don't know how many people that is. Some people own multiple properties. But if you're under forest or agriculture, it doesn't affect you. If you're under open space, it will, and hopefully it will just be a matter of reapplying.
Would anyone else like a copy of this?
Yeah, maybe you can get a
I'll
couple.
give you a copy of mine. Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Mhm.
On to the next item on the report. I had sent a PDF out to members with hyperlinks to just grants that I've come across. Some of them more agriculturally related, more recreational related, more trail related than others. But any kind of thing that even touches on the work we do, I've been keeping a spreadsheet of these to just keep an eye on in case we want to make a run for one of them. If members have looked at that and there are any that they think we should pursue, let me know and we'll start the paperwork process. There's money out there, not huge billions of dollars, but there's money to reach at that if we can have a strong idea and know what we need, we can make an ask and potentially check off some projects. But please reach out to me if there are any in particular. On to the next item, the review of conservation easement discrepancies. So we had discussed at prior meetings that the mapping software that the town uses has conservation easements depicted on them that aren't in the conservation easement list that we track, the physical list. Now, and on that list, there are none of the conservation easements are represented on the AppGeo. So I've been in discussion with the assessor. The previous assessor had added some proposed subdivision lines to the mapping before these easements became official or ever became an easement at all. Some of them from the deeds I've been looking at might be actual and they belong in the conservation easement list. Some of them are not actual and need to be stricken from that map. There's the potential that some are also meant to be, but haven't gone through the formal process to become formally filed on the land records and thus have not made it into the list. So I'm finding all the discrepancies, and then the assessor will take our list and make sure that those wind up depicted in our map, and that the ones that don't belong are removed. And that will make that AppGeo software much more useful for that knowledge than it is now, because right now it's not even a hint at for some people that there might be a conservation easement on their property. And so soon, I don't know how quickly the map will be updated, but I think we're going to have all the information on for Paul very, very shortly. And yeah, that will be a new a useful feature for the AppGeo program. Related to our conservation easement list, I haven't been able to review easements as hoped. There's a batch of letters that should go out and contacts to be made and appointments to be set. But I plan on looking at some of the easy stuff to do that is on town-owned property and publicly accessible, such as the tri-state marker. Should be able to find conservation easement markers out there. That property is on our conservation easement list. So that's an easy review, which I hope to do very soon. Next item on our list related to GIS training. Reached out to Yukon Clear, and they acknowledged that their website needs updating and that they need to rewrite their course. Carrie Chadwick, she said that the software has changed so much in the past couple of years that they plan on rewriting the course. So I don't know what that means for the software that we have right now, but they've added us to a contact list to be notified of future courses. University of Rhode Island has been aggressively reaching out to us about their online GIS certification. And there's an informational session online next Monday at 5 p.m., which I'm going to have a look at. It appears that the tuition for their certification is like $1,100 approximately. There's after tuition and fees. I don't know if I'm personally ready to tackle anything for a fall semester, and their deadline is fast approaching. But I want to see what their information session has to say, and at least get an idea of what you get for that money. And then perhaps down the road, that the online training through URI might be a way to go instead of Yukon Clear program.
Will this be a course that you can take online, or that you'll have to go to Rhode Island to,
It's
Yeah.
on,
pardon?
it's an online certification. Yep.
For those that are ignorant, what does GIS mean?
A geographic information system. You can match data to a location on a map in a way. It's got many potential applications, say hydrant mapping, utilities. Most commonly, I would say it's used to show property boundaries and parcel information. But it's got a whole range of utility. We express our maps through GIS. So a wetlands map is produced out of a GIS. Our AppGeo program is sort of a GIS, but it's not. It's for end users. ArcGIS, which Carolyn was very proficient at and had many years of experience. You can create the map. You can create the appearance of the map. You can. It's merging data sets with a map image and parcel information. Little long-winded way of saying it, but across every industry, it's got utility across every industry in terms of spatializing data.
Oh, this was kind of a requirement for the job. So my opinion, it's very important that we have someone on staff that can do it. So I personally would like to recommend that you look into it seriously. My comments for what it's worth.
No, it's what it can bring back to the town when there's someone with that expertise and skill. Carolyn's maps are a bedrock of information, and will be for a long time to come from the work she was able to produce in that software. And I hope to contribute in such a way too. So I will keep the commission updated on how that virtual information session goes. And we'll go from there. Next item, the 2023 budget book. There should be one on the table. Our budget request was approved, and it's basically the same numbers that are from our previous budget, except for an increase in the salary line for the recording secretary and the agent. I can get anybody I received it by email. It's quite a substantial print job. I'd rather send it by email if anybody wants one, but I could also get you a physical copy if interested. Annual report. I got an email yesterday that the annual report was published. And I don't know if it's the one on the table, but that's the only one I could find.
We have more for everybody too.
What's that?
There's more of those, Dan, for everybody.
Okay.
If anybody wants one, yeah, they're available.
I went home last night.
FEMA floodplain mapping. So we've been made aware that FEMA's got some updated flood maps. I've heard property owners have made an appeal so far. There's a quite an appeals period still to go. And these flood maps will go into effect in early 2024. Marla has been in communication with Diane Ivkovic at Deep. And there's still plenty of room for comment and appeal. Ultimately, we hope that a new filter in AppGeo is created, sort of like you can see the conservation easements. Well, then you can see flip the slider and you can see the flood map. And then we'll be getting more utility out of AppGeo, because AppGeo can be very useful if it's updated, and otherwise, if it's not updated, it kind of provides erroneous information to a resident trying to use it.
What's an app filter?
So AppGeo is our kind of the go-to for all the land use personnel to kind of get quick information on a property, its boundaries, its location, to determine setbacks, to determine if there's wetlands on a property. So it basically looks like a Google map with property lines on it. And you would be able to click on one of these properties, polygon, and it would display property information. Now with AppGeo, we can display any kind of information that we have had imported into it. So say if we wanted to see a zone map, there's toggle switches. You could click zoning and it would toggle the zoning map, which would overlay onto the Google map with the property boundaries. And you get to see the zones in different colors. There's a wetlands toggle that uses the statewide wetlands mapping, which is hit or miss, but the best resource a lot of towns have to work with. You would toggle that, and then it would kind of display wetland soil type locations and water courses. You can apply multiple filters at the same time to see who gets sewer, and so there's a lot of uses that we could work with. But for my job, when I use that, I'm looking at the property. Where's the property? Okay, the property's here. It abuts this, and there's wetlands. But it's much more useful than that. It's publicly accessible to residents. It can be found on our town website by typing GIS in the top search bar, and it should be the quickest way to get there. But I encourage everybody to play around with that. If you didn't know about it, when you find something like that, it can be fun to explore. Another use of it in our office is that we have the Google map for current, the Google map for 2019, the Google map for 2012, the Google map for 2004. So we can overlay the parcel information and the wetlands information and over a 2004 map and see the difference in how the clearing has occurred over 20 years, or wow, it was all forest in 2004. Now it's a mining operation in 2012. So it's not a real time, and it's not, we don't have all all the information, but there's, we can catch useful glimpses through a software like that on property information and the changes of a property over time. Related to mapping also, Wyndham Land Trust has sent out a notice or a newsletter, and they indicated that their properties have been added to CT Trail Finder, which is just an app of sorts that there's others of its type, but this is useful. CT Trail Finder is becoming one of the more robust ones that for Connecticut trails. There's other softwares such as All Trails and Trail Forks, but they don't have the, as much in their program. Hopefully one day all these are merged and we have a full picture of where all the trails are and how they connect. But that Wyndham Land Trust is making some effort to map at least their trails digitally, and share them with everybody is a great resource. And some of these trails are in such close approximation to other open space or recreational areas in town that if they're identified, we identify our part, we have a fuller picture of the recreational opportunity. Moving along, we've received tree complaints. We get tree clearing complaints all the time. Some Marla, I shift them to Marla, or because there's work occurring in the wetlands, but a lot of tree complaints are not actionable. There's just it's not really much. A lot of these is, it's on somebody else's property. The person has looked and appreciated the forest for many years, and there's a new owner, and they decide they want to create a pasture in one particular case. And I would say that it's just changes in the use of the land that aren't wild or atypical, and are historical uses of the land in some respect. And we don't really have code outside of wetlands regulations to address trees. I'm not familiar with the tree warden in town. Some places do have that, but this town is very rural. A lot of people burn wood. And people have an interest in clearing what they can of their property to build a new house or harvest their timber. And I think it's just competing ideologies, where some people just never want a single tree to be cut. There's practicality and extremes on both ends, but for the most part, these tree complaints are not actionable, except the ones in wetlands. Moving along, our neglected cemeteries grant, we got a reminder from OPM that the grant period runs for 2 years, which we know from the date of the execution of the grant. And for us, that means our grant period ends November 10th, 2022. By that time, we shall have reimbursed our contractor for the work that they're going to do this summer, and submitted our reimbursement request for their processing and for them to send us money back. There hasn't been an announcement for that this grant is continuing. It's a little more homework on my end. I've reached out to Martin Heft at OPM, who runs the programs, to see if this is going to happen, and I hope for his response pretty soon. But we should follow. I was looking at the submission guidelines and they've been consistent since we've been applying for them, and we should prepare to apply for this grant when as soon if it's occurring.
You
But-
should have a copy of the grant in the office.
Yep.
And working on the Wilsonville Cemetery for those who don't know. And it should be done by September 30th.
Is Wilsonville it has to be the target. So we've picked a cemetery to work on when we applied for this round of grants. Would we shift to a different cemetery for another round of grants, Norma, do you think?
Say that again, please.
If we sought this grant again and got the which cemeteries or cemetery should be the focus on the next grant?
Oh, I've got
I
two
think
or
it's,
three
yeah,
I'm working on. I can give you a report next. I've got the Bates Cemetery, which is not quite done. That's in Bonnet Acres. I've got the Aquatic Cemetery that I have to put together. I'll have to check with Thompson together to see how much money they can put towards it, because I have to get that put together. And there's the Carpenter Cemetery, which is on Sand Dam, on that bad curve up near 193. After I finish those, then I was gonna go to the one in North Grovendale. I talked to the town foreman in the past, and when he had time, he was going to designate some brush cutting and stuff in there to get started, but I guess until we get a new town foreman, that won't begin. But anyway, I can discuss that with you, and we can come up with, actually, Peter and Carol are on a kind of a subcommittee for the cemeteries, so we can put our heads together and come up with a recommendation at the next meeting, if you like.
sure. We have a couple months probably, if you don't have that prepared for the next meeting, but we could still keep a conversation going about it. I would think it'd have to be a cemetery that needs 2 years worth of work.
Well, that's, there's more than that.
Yeah. On to the next item, the bluebird nesting boxes. We still have a wait list. I haven't been able to source another batch. Norma was able to bring in some more, but I still have a wait list of 18. I reached out to Deep. They used to have they have a sawmill in Portland, Connecticut that used to produce kits for municipalities. They don't produce kits anymore for anybody. But my contact there says the new guy is interested in that kind of giving back, and that might become a possibility, but I don't know how soon that would be. I'm still looking at personal leads to source more materials or more built bird boxes. But if not, we have quite a big list going into next year to follow up with people and fulfill.
I think if we sat down and discussed that, we might be able to find someone that would put them together for us. And I don't think it would be hard to find someone that would furnish the wood. So I think we can work on that and build them within our town.
We'll set some time aside. The draft subdivision regulations, we've been talking about them for a while. The two issues that I believe that they're up on was shared driveways versus private drives. I recall seeing something, or hearing something on Winnie about that. Marla will be meeting with the select board and the town planner to discuss her concerns about net buildable lot size being reincorporated into zoning regulations, which would then have to be reflected in the subdivision regulations. The Wetlands Commission authorized Marla to present that planning and zoning, this planning and zoning subcommittee that's working on these regulations. But I believe that's to take place after the 4th of July holiday because she's short on hours. Let's see, I've also heard that they're seeking, some members seek to have an engineer consult on road construction standards because they might not have the expertise on the commission to put that section together. The town planner indicated that they hope these subdivision regulations are wrapped up by October. So this is stretched out a lot longer than the initial date that we had received at the start of the year for a comment period through January. So these are still ongoing and with some elements of contention. So our this year we've celebrated Juneteenth for the first time, and going forward on our calendar, this probably will impact the meeting date for June's in the future. But we, like every other Monday observed holiday, we have a routine for that. So this third Monday in June, usually probably Juneteenth will fall on observed date on this date, on that Monday. The next subject, wetlands. I've been working with Marla on some inspections and some enforcement when she's been out of the office. Some of the violations that I had worked on have cleared. I'm also the recording secretary for that commission, separate to my hours as the conservation agent. And one more plug for that commission, that they have vacancies for 1 member and 2 alternates, if anyone knows anyone interested in serving on a land use commission. But that concludes the items I have in my report. It's not all inclusive of the activities in the office, but some other things I'd like to make mention of. I gave everybody the handbook from the Connecticut Association of Inland Wetlands and Conservation Commissions about conservation commissions and their role. It's a lot, it's 80 something pages. But if you have a read of it, you'll have a good grasp of what this commission can do and what the scope of its responsibilities are. Also in that is the short fact sheet on the last page of each of those. A fact sheet from the Connecticut Land Use Academy. It's a front and back on the short version of a conservation agent or conservation commission. I've also, on the table, there should be a couple emails I printed out that have events. I think Connecticut Audubon Society and the Yale Forest have a series of upcoming events. I don't know if anybody wants to scan through those and might find something of interest related to forestry and birding and other things. The Last Green Valley also recently publish their yearly book, and that's available at the town hall. But I can procure one for anybody if you don't find one.
Does anyone have any questions? We've kind of gone through, and I know I've interrupted a few times asking questions, but does anyone want anything clarified on Dan's report? I know it's a lot to swallow for
Hmm.
the first
It's our
evening.
responsibility per se. for all of it.
What's your responsibility is to ask questions, give information that might assist Dan in his job. Look at it as a volunteer, as a
Some input, wants input from what
I
we
want
hear.
input from the people on the ground, so to speak. If we have questions, concerns. And I think actually with your background, you would have a lot of common sense, so issues in regards to plants and
I have a comment regarding the West Thompson Cemetery and the potential cannabis plant. In that I don't think it will be a major issue. I haven't heard of any problems in Massachusetts. I mean, package store litter is far more prevalent. You don't, yeah, the nip problem and things like that. The containers that cannabis comes, the edibles are in very small, it's similar to candy wrapper is what you're going to run into. And I don't think most people go, oh, let's go across the street and do this. I think most people take it home
Yeah.
and do it. You're right. Some people might say, yeah, let's sit and watch the sunset by the dam. Might happen occasionally. I don't think, yeah. If people aren't gathering there with illegal marijuana use, I don't think they're going to gather with legal marijuana use. And certainly we know of places where they gather with illegal drug use in town. So I don't think that's a major concern. I think you're right. We should watch for it if they get the permit, if the place opens and we see a problem. But I don't anticipate that being a real issue. I'm far more concerned about beer cans and nip bottles
Dunkin' Donut.
and Dunkin'. Oh, and there's a big pile of Kentucky Fried Chicken trash over by my house on Elm Road and on East Thompson Road.
Even get there from Webster or?
Probably, since there's no KFC in Putnam anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Webster. I wish all fast food restaurants could be responsible for the trash, like
Yes.
town collects it and says, okay, we're billing Kentucky Fried Chicken for this and we're billing McDonald's. And then maybe they would come up with better containers or better ways to distribute it, because I'm just tired of it. It's, and especially down where I live near the racetrack, we get a lot of trash down there. It's a real disgusting problem.
well,
Yeah,
we're
I
working
concur.
on that.
Yeah.
4 ton this year.
Wow.
That's the most you've ever gotten.
Pardon?
4 ton is that the most we've ever gotten.
No, I think the first couple of years we got a lot more. I think we got up to 5 ton.
Believe it or not, it's coming down.
Yes, it's coming down. You wouldn't know it, but
No.
it is slightly. No, I'm anxious to look through the book. Thank you for providing this
Yeah.
for us.
You're welcome.
Okay, back to my agenda. Where am I?
Old business.
There's a lot of agendas here.
Okay, old business, new members. I think we've, this new members, do you have any? Well, I guess that's later. Okay, I have member that is not a member. I have a citizen who has shown an interest. Her first name is Pat. She said she was going to put her name in or fill out the form, but it's I think she would make a good member, so if that comes in, we will have a spot for Phil when his resignation comes in.
I wasn't able to
Oh.
confirm with, but I had hoped to ask Amy today if Pat Cheever had given an application.
Excuse me?
He's,
Pat
That's
Cheever
Pat
has it.
Cheever. Is that the name?
You wanna know if if Pat Cheever had sent in anything, Amy said she
Amy
hadn't
would
seen
know.
it yet.
Okay,
She was gonna check with Marie.
okay.
Yeah, Pat Cheever, Cheever, I think. So anyway, I want to welcome the new members. Okay, the Bluebird houses we've discussed, subdivision dregs. We've got an update on that. The only comment I had on that was, did I understand that Marla was going to give a presentation to
The Planning and Zoning Commission.
the whole planning and zoning or a subcommittee?
The motion that the Wetlands Commission made was for Marla to present her report to the Planning and Zoning Committee. So I don't know, and it's my understanding that subcommittee is basically the whole committee. But at least.
Okay, well, if any of us wish to attend, we can attend. And do you happen to know when that
I
will
believe,
be? When Marla will be giving the present, maybe you could email us?
absolutely.
Would you mind?
Yeah, Marla said it might be at the meeting, they said it might be after the 4th of July holiday, just because she's running out of hours in this fiscal year on her end. And I believe she intends to meet first with the select board, if not just Amy, and with the town planner attending as well, just to discuss her, to get on the same page with concerns.
I think it would be good. Marla has a lot of experience and information that might be advantageous for us all to hear, at least to know what's going on.
Absolutely.
So if you would mind emailing us, I would appreciate it.
Yep, as soon as I find out.
Would the rest of you like to know?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we discussed the storage cabinet. The honor roll marker.
I got an answer for that. I spoke with the man that owns the property. He didn't offer his name to me. I told him who I was and what commission I came from. Told him he was doing a great job, and if he
Maintaining it.
maintaining it,
Yep.
and if he needed any help, that the town would possibly help him in one way or another. I also told him that if it became a burden to him, that we would look for a different place to move it to.
Okay.
And I also told him that there was people still in town that had people, names on that honor roll.
Yeah.
He explained, said to me that he would continue doing what he's doing. He likes it there, and it's not a burden to him right now, so.
Good.
That's
said he'll
wonderful
continue.
news. So we can take this off our
Yep.
old business. Thank you,
You're
Peter, for
welcome.
doing that. Okay, any new business coming up?
Point of order, since this is a special meeting,
Excuse me?
since this is a special meeting, we're
This
not
was a
having a
special meeting.
regular meeting. Can we discuss new business at a special meeting?
I believe Dave is correct, that new business, all business would have to be on the agenda for a special meeting.
Say that again? New business cannot be or can?
Not,
Cannot. Okay, so
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
don't
take
believe
that off
because
the
it's a special
agenda.
meeting. If we met on Monday, it could be, but
Okay, citizens' comments.
Oh, I have a question.
oh, there's a hand up.
Oh, there's a hand up. Valerie can go first.
Oh, there's Valerie. Hi, Valerie.
Can't hear you.
Valerie, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Plug in the
There we
microphone.
go.
Okay.
Can't hear you.
No.
Dave's not there to help you, ha ha.
She put back on
Wait,
mute.
wait, she's trying. Problem is she can hear me. Is the microphone on? Is it
No,
blue?
she's
We can't hear you at all.
muted.
And you can't hear me now either.
Oh,
Yeah.
now we can. Okay, now,
Nope.
No?
oh, what'd you do?
Okay, now I got it. I have to unmute both devices in order to have you hear me. It's very, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now that you can hear me, I always come into these meetings thinking I'm not going to have any citizens' comments, and here I am. And I apologize because I have a few. The first one is regarding the GIS map discrepancies. I met with the assessor last week, and there are definitely GIS map discrepancies. We were looking at a piece of property that I pay taxes on, and the GIS map that he was looking at had the entire area mapped as woodland when it's all wetland, swamp, and ledge. And the field card for the town is correct for how the field card shows, but the GIS map that he has been using to assess the properties was completely wrong. On a different property that I own, it was also pointed out to me that the property line on the GIS map is incorrect. The field card is right, but it's a property I own that borders the state forest, and the state is using the wrong markers also. And then the last thing on the GIS maps, I have not looked recently, but sometime in the past year, I noticed, and this is not to be confused with the Thompson Speedway, which is a completely different property, different entity, but the Thompson Raceway, which I own the property for that, used to be shown on the GIS maps as a historical location, and it was shown on the GIS maps in the appropriate place. When I last checked, either it had been removed entirely, which it shouldn't have been, or it was moved over to the Speedway, and that's wrong too. So I would like to get that straightened out. Certainly not the highest priority on my list with all that's going on right now, but that is an issue with the GIS maps. There's those three items. My second thing is, since we brought up PA 490, that Dave is correct that it's 740 something properties that the assessor is having to reconsider because of the problem with the ordinance. It's over 500 landowners. At the selectmen's meeting last night, that was what the assessor had stated. The third thing is the Robbins Preserve. I had spoken to one of the officers of the Wyndham Land Trust who had told me that they had had a problem because someone came in with heavy machinery and removed their gate. So I think that what you're
Remove
seeing,
what?
Dan, removed the gate.
Oh,
They had taken it and lifted it off the posts forcibly and dumped it on the ground. And so maybe what Dan's seeing with the gate being a little hairy is a result of that. I think that they are going to have to invest some money to repair the gate, is how I understood that. And I know Dan's right that there are problems with ATV use over there. There is an abutter who's has a very good relationship with the Wyndham Land Trust, who does monitor that, and they have personal permission to use a four-wheeled vehicle because they help maintain the property. But they also help throw the ATV folks out. So there are more responsible eyes over there too. So that's really good to know. And then the last item was the historic grave site down that we were talking about, how do we sequester it so that it's not further destroyed. I imagine that your commission does this all the time, then maybe this isn't new information, but the Association for Gravestone Studies may be able to provide advice, help. I know there was a Rhode Island historic grave site group that also was mapping into Connecticut and helping restore grave sites in Connecticut. So either of those folks might be very helpful in providing advice. I think that's all I had. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with my technology glitches right now. And I'm going to go back on mute.
Thank you.
Watching a Japanese horror movie with the lips being out of sync.
Actually, there's two people coming to my house at 1 o'clock tomorrow from the Burrillville, Rhode Island Historical, who restore graves sites, and I can glean their mind as far as some suggestions of how we can handle that. And get back to you.
Valerie a member of the commission, or is she just a?
Excuse me?
Citizen.
Valerie a commission, citizen?
She's a-
She's just like
Citizen. Citizen.
Well,
She's on the Ag Commission.
oh, okay.
Okay, members' comments?
Amy, did you have somebody?
Amy had some.
I did have a question.
Okay.
I have a question in regard to cemeteries, Norma. The guys at the highway garage are a little confused. They feel like, oh, well, we were told this cemetery is being, a volunteer is clearing it, and then all of a sudden they're not. Can you get for me a list so that I
Yes.
can bring it to the guys, so they know which cemeteries there's actually a volunteer that's mowing? So they just know which ones to go to.
Yep.
There's been a little bit of question about that, and that's it.
And I've got a call in, while I'm on the subject. I have a call in, I had a couple more trees cut at the Porter Cemetery,
Okay.
so
For them to come in.
for them to come in and chip the
Chip.
brush.
They're a little short-staffed in the coming week or two. And then we have a paving project we're doing the week of the 4th of July, but we'll get them there.
Mhm.
So next week, it's a little quiet with Lars being gone. So I'll mention, if you've talked to Lars or Kelly.
I
She'll-
I gave the message to Kelly.
Okay, great. So they'll probably get someone out there this coming week.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any announcements of things coming up we should know about?
I have something, Hazardous Waste Day. Don't
Oh,
forget.
yes.
That's Saturday, this Saturday, yes. And it's at the highway garage on Buckley Hill
Yeah.
Road, not the transfer station.
Yeah,
So-
9 to 12, right?
9 to 1, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, there's brochures out there. I should-
anyway, I've got poster home.
all kinds of brochures.
They're everywhere. So.
Okay, any other announcements, Dan? Anything?
Just from those two emails I had printed out with events from the Yale Forest, and I believe it was Connecticut Audubon Society. There could be something, timely this weekend that you might be interested in if you haven't looked at that. I can share those emails with you. But otherwise, there's, I believe, just one copy on the table.
Thank you. No, okay, the next scheduled meeting is Monday, July 18th at 7 PM. And, okay, you're officially adjourned.
Have a good night, everybody.
Why was
Good night,
today?
Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Why was
Regularly-
today called, just because it was changed from Monday to
From Monday.
Wednesday?
Because it wasn't the regularly scheduled